Spare Brides is about 4 friends. Sarah is the one who's paid like the ultimate price, and I think the price that we expect from the war. She's lost her husband, and she's now bringing up her 2 children. She's not only grief-stricken, she's actually in straitened financial circumstances, and she's lonely. But she represents probably about 500,000 women in the country at that time. Her younger sister's Beatrice. Now, Beatrice Bless is basically every woman. She's sort of like most of us. She's not the most intelligent woman. She's certainly not stupid by any stretch of the imagination, but she hasn't been gifted an incredible education. Women in those days weren't. She's not incredibly wealthy or incredibly beautiful. Chances are, before the war, she'd have made a decent marriage and been quite happy and probably brought up a lovely family and lived very respectably and very happily. Unfortunately, after the war, when pickings are very slim in terms of men, and in fact the men that have survived are spoilt for choice, she's not the girl that's going to be picked. We lost 750,000 men in the war from Britain alone, and 750,000 came home very badly injured, either lost a limb or blind. So Beatrice is already resigning herself to being, for want of a better term, an old maid, a very lonely position to find herself in. Ava, however, is not all doom and gloom. Ava is the beauty and incredibly well educated and incredibly wealthy, and no doubt would have been married off and had a lifestyle, a lifetime of being a lifestyle, I guess. She would have been conducting parties and hunting weekends and all that sort of thing. Instead, she sees that there's enormous opportunity and she doesn't have to get married, and she can become a businesswoman. And in fact, she represents the hundreds of thousands of women that did take this very difficult path and became doctors or lawyers or nurses or artists or writers, and forged the way for the women that we are today, and were the very beginning of the modern women that we are now, and we've a lot to thank them for. And then the 4th character in the book, the 4th friend and the heroine, for want of a better term, is Lydia. Gorgeous Lydia's husband avoided the war. His family managed to keep him out of the war, which is a little known fact, but is true that there were ways of avoiding it. He got a desk job. And that was because of very difficult circumstances. They'd already lost 2 sons to the war, and they sort of were protecting this 3rd one, and they were wealthy enough to do so. But Lydia can't see that this is a lucky break. She feels nothing but guilt and frankly a little bit of disgust with her husband, because he didn't stand up and be counted when all the men of her generation did, and so their marriage is going through a really horrific, difficult time. Edgar Trent is possibly the hottest hero going, I'm just saying, in my humble opinion. But he's also, I think, every girl's dream man, because he's damaged and confused, and yet he's looking for somebody to fix him. And women like trying to fix men. And I think in that way, he's a very compelling hero, because he's that sort of mix between strength and vulnerability. He was very well researched. There were a lot of men that came out with the sort of problems that Edgar has come out with, coming to terms with not only what was done to them, but also what they had to do to survive.